Hi, I'm Tom Eddlem, contributor to the New American Magazine, and today I want to talk to you about why some economies grow and others do not. Specifically, I want to contrast the Australian economy with the U.S. economy. You know, if you look at the economies on the surface, you would think, gee, Australia shouldn't. They have a socialist government and have had a socialist government since 2007. Their Labour Party is a part of the Socialist International. Why is Australia growing faster? Well, in my research, looking at data from the IMF going back to 1980, I found that there are two main factors in economic growth. The first and least important of them is national debt. And when the Rudd government took over in 2007 in Australia, it had almost no national debt. The debt was 10% of GDP. In the United States in 2007, it was about 80%. And today it's over 100%. That's one reason why Australia has done better. The other reason, and the bigger reason, is national savings rates. I know that it's very popular among Keynesians to talk about, well, we need to spend more, we need more consumption in order to drive demand. But the reality is, national savings rates drive economic growth more than anything. And Australia has double the economic growth of the United States because it has double the savings rate of the United States. In 2007, Australia had a national savings rate of about 23%, and the United States had a savings rate of about 11%. So double. And it still does today. The U.S. has come up a little bit to 13%, but Australia has also come up to 25%. And Australia continues to gain ground on the U.S. economy and really outstrip us. Why? Because of those two main factors. And why does Australia have higher savings? Well, part of the reason is the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank is suppressing interest rates. It's punishing savers. You don't put your money in the bank, you lose money through inflation. The Australian Central Bank doesn't suppress interest rates as much as the Federal Reserve. In the U.S., the Federal Reserve looks for zero interest rates. The Australian Central Bank has pushed it up to at least 4%, which is fairly close to what a market would do. And Australia also has a semi-privatized Social Security program they call superannuation, where every worker is forced to save 9% of their income. This pushes their savings up as well. So in Australia, they sort of force it, but they also have close to market forces on savings. In the U.S., we have no incentive to save. In fact, the Federal Reserve punishes savers. And this means for America that because we have high debt and we have low savings, we're not going to grow very fast. And we're in sort of a death spiral, unfortunately, because we have this high debt. And right now we're paying low interest on the debt. The deficit actually looks better than it really is. As soon as the Federal Reserve raises interest rates in order to help people save and help growth, deficits are going to skyrocket again. And that's a problem. But there's a difference in leadership between the United States and Australia. In Australia, the Rudd government, the socialist government, says we don't just want budget balances. We want budget surpluses. We want to pay down our debt. Now, they haven't done that yet. They've actually increased their national debt to about 25% of their GDP. But that's still a quarter, less than a quarter of what ours is. In America, President Obama has never submitted a balanced budget and has never submitted a budget that will ever balance, even 20 or 30 years out. Even on the right, the Republican Party, Paul Ryan's budget, he calls for 20 more years of deficits. Think about it from this perspective. If Paul Ryan, the right wing of the American political spectrum, were in Australia, economically speaking, he'd be too far to the left for the Rudd Socialist Labour Party. Think about that. We need to change what's going on in America, and part of it means informing yourself. So for more information on the U.S. economy, keep reading at thenewamerican.com.